Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.
How's it going, guys? Daniel Spencer from Unintentional Grounding coming to you live for this episode of the Falcons Nest Live. And today we have some awesome discussion points talking about Takk McKinley, talking about Duke Riley. We're talking about Keanu Neal. We're talking about minicamp review. We're talking about guys like BJ Daniels and Alex Gray. We're talking about Tees. We're talking about Deion Jones, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. We're just doing a huge review of what has happened over Falcons camp this week. And I hope you guys tag all your friends in the posts that were available on not only Lombardi's Draft Talk, but also on Dirty Bird Nation and Rise Up Nation. Those are all some really cool places where you can go and get some real good football talk. Thank you, by the way, Chris Robinson. Thank you for joining the show. I really appreciate it. This is all for you guys, and everything that we do is set up so that you guys can have the best content that we could possibly put out, as well as give you guys the best logos, give you guys the best intros, give you the best everything. So we're changing up our logos soon. Our intro soon, so it won't be just that stuff. Falcon Fan DBM, what's going on, man? Rise up, dude. But we are going to be talking about a slew of mini camp things that we have going on. Just a few things here or there that we want to cover, as well as some discussion from you guys here in the chat as well, of things that you guys want to know about Falcons camp and so on and so forth. Raichu for the win. What's going on, man? Sup? What's going on? Rise up. Good to see you, my friend. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of this situation. Is that we had a 3 to 4 day mini camp. It was a 3-day mini camp. And we had plenty of guys come in expecting to try to get to full tempo and full level. And what happened was we had plenty of guys that we thought were going to be ready, or at least very along in their injury status and whatnot and so forth. But when we got to minicamp, it was really more about them rehabbing than actually getting some work done. And that was a good thing because we got to see a lot of the guys that we would usually not see out there in minicamp. You would see some of the regular guys go out there and catch a couple passes, run a couple things without any pads. Yeah, Raichu, you got me, man. You got me. But we will be talking a little bit of Alex Gray. We'll be talking about some BJ Daniels as well, something that I kind of want to bring up to those of you that are Falcons fans that are new to some of the undrafted free agent rookies or some of the guys that we got in free agency or our one international player that we did bring in from overseas. So let's go ahead and get into the side conversations without getting into the main mini camp review, because I'll get to that in just a second. But let's talk about Alex Gray for just one moment. And if you don't know anything about Alex Gray, you need to go look him up now. Obviously right after the show, or if you have two devices that you're going on with, obviously go look there as well. But Alex Gray, a 7-on-7 sided rugby star, got a rugby contract at 17 years old, was touted as one of the biggest youth prospects in the rugby world, excuse me, and now has been brought over to the Atlanta Falcons. DeBlay, I will get to DeBlay in just a second, Raichu. But DeBlay was actually on another team before this. There we go. I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat. Wow. Hold on one second. Ridiculous. Go. So touted as one of the better 7-on-7 sided rugby internationals. and decided that he was done with rugby. He did not want to pursue that anymore. He felt like he had gotten to the top of the totem pole, so to speak, the top of the line. And so instead, he wanted to pursue his dream of NFL football and got into the NFL program and was able to actually sign with the Atlanta Falcons earlier this year. And since then has been working and dedicating his entire life to making this dream come true. And Dan Quinn and company, seeing that he was 6'5", 220 pounds, they were more than happy to throw him at the tight end position and see whether or not he could stick there. And over the week, it actually was kind of funny that a 6'5" guy was then put at the fullback position, and they told him, go and prosper. We believe that you can play fullback. We can believe that you play some tight end. You have some pretty good hands. You've got you ran the 100 meters in 11 seconds, and we feel like you are someone who can elevate their game. You're not eligible to play this year, so we'll actually be going into training camp with 91 players. But we feel like you can contribute to this team, whether it be on special teams, whether it be at the tight end position, or whether it be at fullback. And Alex Gray was actually then given a chance at fullback. And the funny thing is that there's only one guy, two guys, that are in front of him, and that's Derek Coleman and Tyler Renew. Those are the only guys in front of Alex Gray at the fullback position. If one of those is kept for this year, and it's probably going to be Derek Coleman, then what Gray can do is sit back a year, learn how the position works, obviously still catch some balls at the tight end position, play some special teams in camp and on the practice squad, and then next year compete for a viable spot, which he could possibly win. So right now, his biggest leap right now is to get over into the fullback position if he can properly block, if he can properly play special teams, and continue to work on his ball catching skills. Alex Gray will be a name we will hear in the future if we do not release him this year. Hopefully, with his athleticism, and go watch his tape when he's playing rugby. And there's two different games, obviously, but the way he handles the ball, the way he runs, the way he trucks over people, and the way that he's able to catch the ball has been very, very good. And the tape that I have seen on him catching the ball at minicamp and also on his own training days have been good. He's caught it cleanly, but he does look like he is a rookie. Next, I want to jump on to B.J. Daniels, and so a name that I think a lot of you guys will kind of be a little like, what? Who the heck is this guy? You may remember this guy as a quarterback. He was drafted in the 7th round in 2013 by San Francisco, and then he spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks, and they put him at the wide receiver position, and then he started bouncing around teams everywhere. He's got an intriguing athleticism. He is a guy that can play a little bit of running back and a little bit of wide receiver, and a guy that could outside shot, obviously an outside shot, but someone who could take Teron Ward and make him work for his spot, which is good. You want competition, young competition, to be able to fight for roster spots and create an iron on iron or steel on steel grinding. Obviously, an extremely long reach or a long shot to be able to actually join the team for this year. But obviously, if they do keep 4 running backs, he could knock Teron Ward out of his spot. Now on to Anthony Dublé, and a guy that's sitting at 6'3" or 6'4" at the wide receiver position, has spent some time with the team already on the practice squad, is learning how this offense works, and has caught a couple of balls from Matt Ryan and caught a couple of balls from Matt Schaub. and just looked solid during mini camp. I watched a couple of videos. I watched the one video over and over of him catching the ball, breaking through to some defenders. Obviously, there's no tackling allowed in mini camp. But then Duke Riley catching up to him at the very, very end. It was a very, very good showing for Anthony DeBlay, which I believe he could be a guy that kind of makes it in there like a Nick Williams, and gets a couple of throws during the year. Obviously, the wide receiver position right now is stacked with a lot of really good talent. And I think this is the next step for the offense is to begin to bring in some young athletic guys that can begin to shore up some positions of need in the back, because you don't want to have to bring Nick Williams in if he has to be there, but you do trust him enough. But BJ will be interesting at the wide receiver position and at the running back position. Alex Gray at fullback or at tight end, we don't know, but we will look through camp and see how well he goes through that. And maybe even if there's some kind of exception, if he does win the second fullback job, maybe we just let him be the fullback for the team. 6'5" is a little tall, but hey, it is what it is. And then as well, with Anthony DeBlay. DeBlay definitely knows how to catch the ball. He's definitely a polished route runner, and he's doing better each and every day. Over mini camp, I liked his athleticism. I liked his ball catching ability, and his good hands. So the French international and the English international both making a little headlines in camp over this past week. I also do believe, Raichu, that Teron Ward's number is pretty much burnt up by Brian Hill, and they're already talking about Brian Hill taking punt and kick returns over Teron Ward, so that seems almost obvious at this point. Now on to Duke Riley. I wanted to talk a little bit about Duke Riley and what he did over this past few days. And Tack McKinley, who just moved into his house, I believe, today. He will be ready for training camp. They'll probably bring him in for some small workouts at the facility. He's done with his year at school, so he should be ready to go and rearing. So Duke Riley, I watched a couple of videos with him in it. I watched a couple of instances where I was able to just catch a glimpse of him running. He is very fast, and he reminds me of Deion Jones, who, by the way, just recently said that he is farther along, Duke Riley is farther along than he was in camp last year, so that's always a good sign. But Duke Riley does remind me of a Deion Jones from last year, where he was learning, he looked fast, he looked reliable, but you just didn't know anything about him being able to do what he needs to do on the field yet. So hopefully things like the DeBlay catch and him catching up to him 30 yards down the field and almost knocking the ball out of his hands, those types of things will help. Any relation to Perry of the Raiders? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You'll have to actually look that up. But anyway, let's see here. All right. So, but Duke Riley, I think, is going to be one of those guys that's going to get eventually some nickel coverage options, nickel package situations, and eventually probably knock Campbell over to the Sam, and he will be the will linebacker covering tight ends, maybe getting a little run at the line and getting some run stopping abilities. Or chances, excuse me. Those will be in his future soon, especially with how fast and how quickly Dan Quinn likes to put his rookies into the fire and have them work. So that being said, we can only hope and pray that Duke Riley comes out of the fire like Deion Jones did and starts making an impact slowly during the year and then more prevalently as things go on. Now we talk a little bit about Tack McKinley, who obviously just bought his house, will be in, I think I actually just covered this a little bit, but he did buy his house. He is ready to get the training to training camp over the next month. And while we take this short break, I expect him to be ready. He said that his tear in his shoulder, the shoulder surgery, went over well, so we shouldn't have any problems with his return and eventual start, maybe at that left defensive end spot or at an outside linebacker position, maybe playing some Leo here or there. I saw a little bit of Matt Ryan talking to Steve Sarkisian over the week, and it was good to hear that Steve Sarkisian is one of the coaches that is driving his players to get 100%. He sounds like a more passive Kyle Shanahan, at least from the mic'd up version of him talking and him discussing what people need to do and how people need to do it. His style reminds me of a Mike Mularkey when he came in, or excuse me, not Mike Mularkey, but a Derek Quarter. If Mike Mularkey, I would have just been like, we're doomed. But Derek Quarter, it reminds me a lot of a Derek Quarter type style of or approach of taking things, more relaxed, but at the same time, he drives you to do what he wants you to do, which is good. If Tack wings a starting gig, Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm not sure. I don't know if we have a player on our team that could become Defensive Rookie of the Year unless it's Duke Riley, who starts coming out and getting interceptions every game. But it's highly possible that if Tack gets a starting position, he will need some time to learn the game first, at least at this level, and then go on from there. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Just making sure that I didn't have anything else. Who could he beat out for the year, for this year? He could beat out Brooks Reed. Brooks Reed could be the one guy that he beats out. If Adrian Claiborne doesn't come back 100% and we do go get Freeney, he is going to take Brooks Reed's job and probably start in a bunch of games because Dan Quinn likes to do that. Not likely, yeah, because of the veteran presence and because Reed has gotten better over the last 2 years, but Tack is definitely the type of guy to replace him. So definitely watch out for that in camp. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew. I did a little tinkering in the background, and I've been working on it a little bit. So getting good, getting better than it was. I'll say that much. Let me see if I can actually move this a little bit because it's just a little much for me. Cool. And then slide this over. Cool. Now I can see. And then do that. Cool. That's better. Cool, but that's kind of what we've been doing over this last week. Couple Jalen Collins sightings of him intercepting a couple of balls. It's going fine for now. I mean, there's only so many people that I can say, hey, come on over here and come and watch the show when people are reluctant to come from Facebook to YouTube and watch the show. So it's tough. It's tough. I did go to Falcons subreddit and I did ask them if they wanted to come in here, and I got no reply from that. So, woo. Let's see here. But if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions so that you guys can kind of get a couple in and we can discuss more. Heard Tevin Coleman gained 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, beast mode. He is ripped. I saw Tevin Coleman is getting ripped, so prepare for that. How are your corners looking and the pass D? Corners right now, Jalen Collins had a couple of interceptions during this mini camp, which looked good, and a couple of OTA workout pieces where he was disruptive. Desmond Trufant really hasn't been tested. He's been just kind of rehabbing on the side. Haven't heard anything about Robert Alford, and when you don't hear things about a corner, he's obviously doing his job. Keezy has been doing very well. Coaches' constructive criticism has been flowing his way, which is good. That means that he's learning. Otherwise, I didn't see a lot of people getting names thrown out there. So obviously that is in the works at this point in time. I know the Poole was out there making a couple of plays. KZ was doing a couple of things. I did hear that Neal looks faster, right? You already beat me to it. But Neal looks faster. And people are already saying that even though Allen looks good, that KZ could take his job eventually. Excuse me. How do you think the distribution of carries, touches between Coleman, Freeman, and Hill will work out this year? Hill will get very, very, very limited touches. And you'll probably see the same split as last year, if not more, because we'll run more this year, kind of to showcase Freeman and Coleman. But in this new offense, we will be running a little bit more. Prepare for Freeman to get the top touches, and then Coleman to obviously get more pass catching reps. Yes, I am looking forward to that game, Chris Robbins. I'm happy to say that the Falcons-Lions game, which I believe is like the third game of the year, which is going to be hilarious, but like the third or fourth game of the year, will prove whether or not the Atlanta Falcons are prepared to do what is necessary to win games. So what is going on here? I'm sorry, there's somebody in front of my house being a weirdo. Okay. Weird. This is why I need to close my blinds and not have any of that stuff. Yeah, you guys are third because is week 2, which I'm excited to see. That should be also another very, very good game. Yeah, I don't know what's going in front of my house. It's weird. Some dude in like a soul or something like that. Here, hold on one second. I'm going to turn this light on. Boom. Weird ass looking. Devin Fuller needs to win the kick punt returner gig. I keep forgetting that he's on the team. Yeah, he is on the team. And sadly, there's plenty of guys, Andre Roberts that we brought in. There's a lot of guys in here that could win this job. So, but that's definitely the kick and punt return position is going to be something that during training camp, when I go up there to watch what's going on, it will be something that I will key in on. I probably won't key in too much on the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, very little. I really don't want to look at anything as far as the offense is concerned. To me, the offense is set. I don't need to know what Freeman and Coleman are doing. I don't really need to see what Brian Hill is doing. If Brian Hill beats out Teron Ward, it's gonna be in a preseason game. If this BJ guy does win his stuff, I won't specifically be looking at what he's doing either. I have not figured out a specific day of training camp because the Atlanta Falcons have not set up their training camp schedule. Some you need tickets for, some you do not. The tickets are sometimes because of the time of the week. And the non-tickets are usually because it's closed, or they're doing like a mini practice and you're only allowed from time slot A to time slot B. Some are whole day events. Some are just a few hours of public can come watch and then they kick you out. So Tyler Gabriel has been fine. I haven't seen anything new or anything that suggests that Tyler Gabriel would not be doing everything well. I did see that he did take a bump and during practice came out, limped a little bit, played a little bit, and then went back and then was held out the next day. Probably just more or less precautionary, has nothing to do with anything great. Yes, and it is a good thing that they took a tackle in the first round. It is a good thing that they're probably going to have to put that tackle on Vic Beasley's side. Yeah, it is going to be Vic Beasley's side because I believe that Tack McKinley is probably going to get put on the right-hand side of the offensive line, which is going to be funny because you're going to have another rookie coming from an opposite position that they played and probably doing very, very well, while Vic will probably go back to the other side or play strong side linebacker. Their left tackle situation is probably going to get them murdered. They already don't really have much of a defense or a resemblance of that defense, and I'm pretty sure Drew Brees doesn't play defense. So because he can only play offense and because now his left tackle is probably going to be a rookie, they're most likely going to get killed. And I feel sorry, but oh well, too bad. Yeah, I mean, again, if Adrian Claiborne still wins the job and he's able to stay healthy, then obviously he'll probably eat his lunch. Vic Beasley will speed rush him. Tack McKinley will probably be a good one-on-one battle until Tack obviously eats his lunch later. But again, it's so late into the season when we play the Saints. It will probably be a very, very emotionally driven game because we'll be in a place where we will need to win games to go to the playoffs. True. And there's your shining example. So, do we have any more questions? I do want to throw two things out very quickly. One thing is about Dan Quinn and his development of talent. And then the other one, very quickly, is to talk about Keanu Neal and Cam Chancellor, who are going to be working out for the second year in a row together up where I think actually you're going to be going out west. Cam is teaching Keanu Neal. Why are the Falcons and the Seahawks not throwing hissy fit on these private training sessions? Because it's the off season and they can't do anything about it. And also at the same time, it drives up the market. So of course the players want to teach the younger guys all the tricks that they possibly can. And I bet it's also a favor from Dan Quinn as well to have his guy that he used to coach teach his guy that is coaching now. So it's good. It's good. And then Vic Beasley obviously going off to Von Miller and Von Miller teaching him pass rush moves, which gives me this weird like Illuminati triangles everywhere type stuff that that maybe the other teams in the NFL are trying to make the Atlanta Falcons the best team they can so they can beat the Patriots. I'm just saying maybe that's something that they're doing. Maybe that's something they're doing. They got them. Hey, look. The Golden State Warriors last year lost the NBA Finals. They came back this year and won it. The Clemson Tigers last year lost the national championship. This year they came back and won it. Guys, boys, look, I'm just saying. The Falcons lost the championship. And I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's no tinfoil hat here. There's no I just have this Illuminati sense going off, and I just feel like it's the year of the underdog, the year of people that have had the experience to go to the Super Bowl, to do it again. Maybe not the Patriots, maybe not the Falcons, but it lines up a little too perfectly, right? Oh well. Anyway. Yeah, but that's the NFL schedule. That is the NFL schedule, though. I would love to see the Raiders beat the Patriots in the playoffs, and then the Falcons go to the Super Bowl, and it's Falcons and Raiders. Man, that would be such a lit Super Bowl. I'd be like, obviously, I'm rooting for the Falcons. Duh. But man, the Raiders are here. Holy moly. Like, yeah, let's go, Raiders. Yeah, like, not let's go because I really want to beat you and win a Super Bowl. But that would be really cool Super Bowl. So, anyway. Yeah, and if Ben can stay healthy and Le'Veon Bell can do what he does, and that offensive line doesn't break down into shattered pieces like it did last year, but there are some other options out there. But the AFC is very weak. San Diego just being bad. The entire AFC South sucking. The AFC East just having no talent other than the Patriots, and so on and so forth. It's just it's bad. It's pretty bad, Well, also assuming that Alex Smith doesn't get taken out at some point and, and Pat Holmes gets put in, but we're not going there right now. But yeah, that's kind of the show that I wanted to do, kind of touch on a couple of points, let you guys know what's going on and how things are going. And then, just let you know how minicamp went. There weren't a ton of talking points that we were able to do, but the Falcons did have a productive minicamp. I think that Dan Quinn was pleased that everybody is up to speed, except for maybe Takk McKinley, who still needs some time, and those who are rehabbing still haven't been able to get in there and do things. Who do I think that takes the biggest step forward in their second year? In their second year, Deion Jones might take the biggest step forward, but there's a lot of Falcons writers and analysts who are saying that Keanu Neal is the one who's going to take the big year 2 step. So it's going to be somebody on the defense. There's nobody on the offense that really is going to make a super huge impact other than what they were doing last year. Austin Hooper could be a very good tight end next year, but I don't predict that he will be in the top 10 or something like that. But he is the number 1 tight end now, so that'll be very interesting. No Tammy in his way, no looming guy over his shoulder that could take his place. And Austin Hooper looked pretty good in the Super Bowl. If you don't remember his Super Bowl touchdown catch, was right on the money. He caught it. He fought off a guy to get there. He used speed. Actually, Austin Hooper looks like a slower version of Alex Gray, and that's kind of funny. That Alex Gray is a faster version of Austin Hooper, just doesn't have the hands or the training yet. So let us see how things go on. Toilolo still works with us. He's the second tight end on the roster, and then you start getting down and down and down in the tight end pool. Salbert and so on and so forth. DJ and others. So we will see how the tight end thing goes, but I believe it's going to be either Neal or Jones going to make a big step in their second year. And the breakout Falcon that everybody's talking about is Grady Jarrett, that he will make a huge breakout this year. You can't stop everybody. If Dontari Poe, Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley, and Grady Jarrett are all on the field at the same time, it's kind of hard to stop all of those guys. You got basically 2 speed rushers and then 2 power rushers right up the middle. So I'm not sure how you're going to stop that, especially then you also have Devondre Campbell, Deion Jones, and Duke Riley, all with these speed linebackers flying everywhere. So look at Gray during his rugby matches run past dudes like it's nothing. Then go compare, obviously, there's no pads on Gray, but compare it to Austin Hooper, who seems to have gears, not straight line speed, and Gray has this straight line speed. He can just zip. Now, it's different with the pads on, and I cannot wait to see him actually participate maybe in a game, maybe, and get a pass thrown to him. But I'm rooting for the kid, and he is very fast. Hageman surprise cut. I'm not sure. You got Crawford, who does his job. You've got Crawford, who does Hageman's job. You've got... Who else do you have at defensive tackle position? It's just, there's not a lot of depth at our defensive tackle position. So, you got Poe, you got Jarrett, you got Hageman, you've got who after that? So I would wait on Hageman gets cut. More or less, we'll go into the season with most of the same guys in there. Courtney Upshaw might be a cut. That could be a cut. Derek Shelby, his contract, being that it is what it is, could stick around, but injury concerns would say that if he doesn't really impress, he's going to be a cut. So have to go with the more safer cut options right now. Shelby, if he doesn't impress, his contract is what it is. We might lose a little bit of money, but he's just not there. Adrian Claiborne, definitely a safer cut, especially with a defensive end being taken so early, and Dwight Freeney asking if he can rejoin the Atlanta Falcons, and Dan Quinn and the Falcons not yet looking into that avenue, but they could bring him in soon. I like Courtney Upshaw as well, but I think that he could get eventually cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to end it right here. I thank everybody that came out to come watch the Falcons Nest Live, our new setup here on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. And if you don't already have the notification button hit, please hit that notification button. We also are on Twitter at UNGR Podcast. Come follow us there. We've been covering a lot of Falcons talk. And before we end the show, I just want to say something very quick. So those of you that are watching, please stick around. We are in a transition phase right now with the YouTube channel, the Facebook Live directly for Lombardi's Draft Talk and for DBN and Rise Up Nation, and the podcast that we do. We need your help. Should we continue doing podcast episodes of the Falcons Nest Live? There's obviously lots to talk about, and we could, during the season, obviously have many avenues for you to go and listen to us here on YouTube with live content. I like live content on here other than, planned, scheduled nonsense. I need a lot of better equipment, and I don't have money coming from YouTube yet. I don't have a Patreon set up yet, so those are things that need to be done. But should we continue the podcast for you guys, or should we do more content on here and on Facebook Live in those groups? And can we somehow get more people onto the YouTube channel? Because we want to get the numbers up. We want to be able to do more content on here for you guys. But if it's not getting supported, we have to go back to what we know is working. We have a very dedicated group of you guys. Raichu and Chris. Andrew pops in from time to time, but he's a co-host on my show. Falcons fan DBN comes in here every once in a while to come see us, and we will have some of the other Falcons fans come in here every once in a while, but it's not consistent enough. If you think that we should do more content on the podcast, more content on Facebook Live, and more content or less content on here, let us know. Please let us know on Twitter. Let us know on Facebook. Let us know what content you like the most. This content, Facebook Live content, the podcast content, something has to be cut out. We don't want to lose YouTube, but should we continue the podcast stuff? If you don't think we should continue the podcast stuff, let us know, and we're going to snip it right in the butt, and we're going to be done with it. We're not going to have the podcast stuff anymore. If you feel like the podcast stuff would be something that you would want to listen to, if you like my voice, you like Andrew's voice, or if you want to be part of that thing, you could contact us. Then please let us know, because we kind of want to figure out where we're going to be. We're going to get better lighting situations. We're going to get better equipment. We're going to get better cameras. We're going to get better everything. But we need to have consistent shows like this. And we need more of you guys to come in here and talk to us. You can find it on Podbean, Unintentional Grounding on Podbean. I haven't uploaded in a while because it got out of touch with our listeners, and we had so much going on, me moving into this new house, Andrew moving to his new job and to a new part of the state. So if you like what we're doing on the Podbean, if you like the intros, if you like the things like that, we'll continue to do it. If you like this YouTube stuff, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your fellow coworkers, tell your peeps to come check out our channel. Every little bit helps, because then it gets us closer in views, it gets us closer in subs, it gets us closer in Notification Nation peeps, and it gives us a better understanding of what content you want. I'm sorry to get so serious, but we need YouTube to be a full-time thing. But the Podbean stuff, the podcast stuff, if you guys like that, we'll keep it. But if you don't, it's a waste of our time to try to keep it around. We need to know from you guys whether or not you want it gone. If you want it gone, then we can switch it and we don't have to spend any money on it and we can get out of there. And then the YouTube Live stuff, I'm actually probably going to go on YouTube Live a little bit later, and I'll probably go and do it right now, right after this video. But please, by all means, let us know on our Twitter. Let us know in the comment section below this video. Let us know everywhere. And please hit us with a like or hit us with a dislike if you didn't like this video. Hit us with a like, hit us with a sub, hit us with a notification button. And we would love to have you guys and your thoughts. This is all about you guys and all about the content going out to you guys. I'm not going up to the Atlanta Falcons training camp for my own health or just because I like it. I'm going up there because I want it to be my job, and I want to give you every bit of content that I possibly can get, all the videos, all the stuff, and just like we have up here in the top of the screen, up here with Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Those are all for you guys. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for coming in here. I appreciate everything you guys do. You guys drive this channel for what it is, and I will see you guys on Facebook Live at Dirty Bird Nation. We will talk to you guys there in just a moment. Just talk some random Falcon stuff. Peace out.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.